Hi, in this video we're revisiting the agency in GTA 5 Online, why you need one, how much it costs and how to make chopper loads of money. Hi and welcome back, my name's Dan and I'm an old grumpy gamer. Grand Theft Auto is a truly massive game. Between GTA 5 and the constant updates from Rockstar for GTA Online, there's no shortage of new content and interesting things to do. Join me then as we look at one of the very best solo businesses in GTA 5 Online, as we go through the contract updates agency business. Before we dive in, if you're new to the channel, we do how-to guides, news and giveaways, so consider subscribing and ringing the bell to stay up to date. We've got a lot of ground to cover here. This is one of the biggest updates GTA Online has seen in a while, and there's a lot to take in, so we'll break this down into chapters with timestamps in the description below. We'll be going through why you'd want an agency, purchasing options, earnings and return on investment, touring the agency property, starting the first mission, starting the storyline and storyline missions, the security contracts, passive income, Payphone Hits, playing as Franklin and Lamar, Imani Tech, the anti-griefer measures, agency services, and finally some pro tips. So first things first, why on earth would you want to buy an agency? Well, there's a ton of things the agency offers. Firstly, Chop. For fans of story mode, Chop was a highlight with a few missions featuring him. He's a bit of an older pupper now, but look at him, he is awesome. Imani, the master hacker employed by the agency who provides access to anti-griefer vehicle mods called Imani Tech, as well as a number of other handy services. Security contracts, which are essentially VIP work on steroids. For what they are, the contracts pay out really well and are reasonably straightforward, especially if you have a Sparrow or a Mark II oppressor. Payphone Hits, which is another free roam VIP work type of caper, where you can take out specific targets in a specific way for some pretty decent money. The Dr. Dre contract, in a similar fashion to the tuner contracts, this is a great little heist series that can net you a fair wad of cash for each playthrough. Short Trips, which are a series of missions that have you playing as either Franklin or Lamar, which is the first time GTA Online has allowed us to play as anyone other than our own player character, let alone a story mode protagonist. Genuinely passive income, and this one more or less speaks for itself. A max setup will net you $20,000 per in-game day, or around $25,000 per real-world hour. In addition, the agency itself has an armory where you can purchase discount body armor, weapons and ammo, and that includes Mark II ammo if you've got them unlocked. Free snacks, I mean, it kind of speaks for itself really. They're free and they're easy to refill. A spawn point, which is handy, especially considering it's right next to the armory and the snack stand. Garage with 20 additional parking spaces for standard vehicles. A vehicle workshop, which makes it really convenient to tweak your vehicles and also includes access to special anti-griefer measures put together by Imani. And agency services, which includes cheap access to a chopper, fast travel, use of the company's armored SUV, supply drops, and a funky take on going off the radar. Suffice to say, this was not a small update. Right, so let's talk budget. To do anything meaningful in the agency business, you'll need to be a VIP, motorcycle club president, or a CEO. Honestly though, you don't want to be doing this as a VIP. There are some serious restrictions and it's a pain in the backside. So realistically, the cheapest option here is becoming an MC club president. And to do that, you'll first need to have a motorcycle club set up. The cheapest one you can grab is the Great Chaparral Clubhouse at $200,000. It's a bit out of the way, but if you're on a budget, this is the one to go for. Once you have the clubhouse set up, you'll need an actual agency. Once this is unlocked, you can purchase this through the Dynasty 8 executive website on your phone. Starting with the agency itself, where we have 4 distinct locations to choose from. Little Seoul at $2,010,000, Vespucci Canals at $2,145,000, Rockford Hills at $2,415,000, and Harwick at $283,000. Each of them has the same capacity and facilities. That's 20 vehicle spaces with a workshop, an armory, hacker and snacks, access to Chop, and a $250,000 safe. So there's no difference there, nor is there any difference in the passive income, making the only real difference travel distance to your other properties and of course budget. Next, we have some upgrades. Starting with the artwork, the power and money set is included in the purchase price, but you can upgrade to one of the other artwork sets for up to $340,000. Wallpapers next, with the floral pattern being free, but you can spend anywhere up to an additional $442,500 for a fancier finish. Highlights are next. Again, there is a free one, the charcoal in this case, but you can spend up to $100,000 on something a bit different. Next up, we have the functional upgrades. And the armory is a bit of a cost at $720,000, but offers discount access to weapons, armor, and ammunition. The armorer will even sell you Mark II ammo, which is super handy. If you go for this option, you'll also get a gun safe, which helps manage your loadout. Accommodation is next. Adding a personal quarters allows you to spawn in to the agency and will set you back $275,000. And finally, the vehicle workshop, which is a must at 800 grand, mainly because it unlocks the Imani Tech mods for selected vehicles, which is a fantastic set of anti-griefer measures. So that is a minimum spend of $2,210,000 to get you started, including the motorcycle club. But if you can set aside $5 million, you can get a more central location and all of the functional upgrades. Oh, and that includes the CEO office too, if you don't already have one. Daily fees are less than $300 too, which is a bit of a change from some of the other more complex properties as well. So earnings and return on investment next. Now, assuming it takes about 5 hours to rail through the storyline for the first time, and then you just redo the VIP contract again, which takes a bit over 2 hours depending on your skill level, you'll probably hit break even after around 7 or 8 hours. After that, between running security contracts and payphone hits, you could be looking at up to 450 grand per hour working actively, plus up to an additional 25,000 per hour of completely passive income. Now let's take a look at the agency itself. So once you've grabbed the property that suits, head on over and wander in, where you'll be presented with an absolutely brilliant cutscene. Do not skip it. Lamar is fantastic. After that, you'll be dropped into your office and you can have a bit of a wander around. Starting down one floor, which is actually the entrance to the agency where you'll typically start from, we have our main reception area. Not much here, but it's pretty welcoming. Up one floor is the client and executive area, where we can find Franklin's office, Chop's hangout, a boardroom, and our new office, which is where we can access the computer and collect our passive income. And heading up the stairs to the top floor, we have the staff workspace and the rec area. This is where we'll find the armory if you grabbed it, including the gun safe for our new arms dealer. We can also collect snacks from the kitchen, take a few moments in the lounge, or use the personal quarters if you purchase them. As a neat little aside, you can see Imani smashing code over here too. So heading to one of the elevators next, which you can find on the top or the bottom floor, down to the garage. From the first basement level, we can see the company SUV, that's an armored Jubilee, the workshop, and the garage management console. There's often a couple of other cars or motorcycles up here too, but unfortunately they belong to other staff, so we can't use them. Heading downstairs, we have our main garage area where most of our personal vehicles will end up stored as we acquire them. On to the first mission next. So when you're ready, head to the middle floor where you'll find your office. Make sure you're registered as a VIP, MC club president, or a CEO, then head to the computer, sit down, and log on. At this point, we will not be able to start the Dre storyline, so we have to do a quick security contract instead. Franklin will pipe up and give you a bit of a briefing on the application. When you're prompted, click Security Contracts on the top left. There's another quick briefing where you'll be prompted to select a security contract. Have a look through and pick the one you like, or, the one that pays the most. Click the Accept Contract button on the bottom right and you'll be pulled back out of the PC. Head downstairs and out to the free mode lobby. After a few moments, you'll receive a call from Franklin, which will take you through the mission. Listen to it carefully, it is important. Follow the instructions to complete the contract and then head back to the agency, where you'll get a quick attaboy from Franklin and job's done. On to the storyline next. So after a few moments, you should get another call from Franklin prompting the start of the storyline proper. Head over to the Los Santos Golf Club when you're ready to get started. After a bit of a cutscene and a game of keep away with the golf carts, you'll sort out our new friend, get a quick cutscene, and that will be the setup complete. Fun as it was, we won't have to do this one again though. Take a breath for a few minutes, maybe go load up with ammo if you're low, and wait for another call from Franklin. Once you've heard from him, head back to the agency where we'll get another cracking cutscene and a bunch of information, so sound up and pay attention. After Lamar's finished making a bit of a tool of himself, head downstairs to the office and log into the PC again, where you'll get a bit more of a brief from Imani and have a new option, VIP contract. Give it a click when you're ready and that will reveal the first setup mission. Now this is an interesting format. We have a setup mission, then 3 chapters for the next setup series, each with 3 separate missions, followed by a raid on Record A Studios and the finale at the hangar in Los Santos International. Now I won't go into the individual missions in this video, that's a bit much to cram into one vid, but there are detailed walkthroughs linked in the description below. Once you've completed the finale, you'll catch some sweet new work from Dre and also receive $1 million for your troubles. Now the first time through, this will likely take you around 5 hours in total, maybe a little more depending on your skill set. After that, you're probably looking at under 2.5 hours hours for a complete round. So that works out to around 400k per hour. It's still not Kyo money, but it's pretty fun and is great shooting practice. On to security contracts next. Now, I know we touched on these before, but we should go through them in a bit more detail. So there are 6 distinct type of contracts. That's asset protection, where you fend off attackers and protect some sort of cargo or shipment. Gang termination, where you assassinate high-level gang leaders, liquidize assets, which is a straight-up destruction fest. Recover valuables, where you, strangely enough, recover an asset. Rescue operation, which has you collecting a VIP. And vehicle recovery, where you retrieve a vehicle. In addition to these 6 contract types, there are 3 different grades of difficulty, with the easiest, professional, paying between 31,000 and 42,000, specialist paying between 44 grand and 56 grand, and finally the most difficult, specialist plus, paying between 60 and 70k. So when you're ready, you can either head to your computer in the agency office or give Franklin a call to request a security contract. Pick the one that pays the most and then wait for a bit of a briefing. The rest is just a case of kind of following the bouncing ball. The security contracts are very much like VIP work in regular free mode and typically take about the same time as air freight or haulage. So as far as bang for your buck goes, they're pretty damn good. The really good news though is they only have a 5-minute cooldown. So if you're good, you can rail through 4 or 5 in an hour. If you intersperse them with Payphone Hits, which we'll get to in a moment, you can really crank up the earnings. On to passive income. So while we're speaking of earnings, there is one more aspect to the security contracts we should cover. So you may have noticed there is a safe in your agency. This is where your passive income is deposited every in-game day or every 48 real-world minutes. And here's where it gets interesting. For every 5 security contracts you do, regardless of difficulty, the amount deposited in your safe each in-game day will increase by $500. So after you've completed 5 contracts, 500 will be deposited. After 10 contracts, 1,000, and so on all the way to 200 contracts, where you'll be receiving the maximum deposit of $20,000 per in-game day. It's a hell of a grind to get there at a minimum of around 50 hours, but that $20,000 will keep rolling in every in-game day forever. And that's in addition, of course, to the $12 million or so you likely earn doing the contracts to get you to that level of passive income in the first place. Not bad. Okay, next on the list is Payphone Hits. Now, anyone who's done the Lester assassination missions in story mode knows where this is going, but this is essentially another type of VIP work. Now, you do not need to be a VIP, an MC club president, or a CEO for this one, so it's a great free mode activity if you've got a few minutes or your lobby's CEO quota is maxed. But you do need to have completed 3 security contracts in order to unlock this mode. Assuming you've finished 3 security contracts and received the subsequent call from Franklin, as you're moving around the map, you'll notice these blue payphone icons pop up periodically. When you see one, head over to the marker, pick up the phone and listen to the brief. And I really mean listen to it. There is key information in there that will help you maximize your earnings. If you don't quite catch it though, you'll receive a text with a bit of additional info when you start heading towards the target. All up, there are 8 distinct targets, each with 3 distinct possibilities for the assassination method. So that's 24 different mission types in total. And once you practice, these will only take a few minutes each. Now, if you follow instructions and take out the target using the method that Franklin asks you to, you'll score a whopping 85 grand for your trouble. If you botch it or are a bit lazy and the target is not killed using Franklin's suggestion, you'll only receive 15 grand. So it is imperative that you pay attention and follow instructions. Once you've carried out the hit, there will be a 20-minute cooldown, and after that you can either wait for another one to pop up or you can call Franklin on your phone and request another. So, still with me? Fantastic. Next up, we're looking at possibly the biggest change to online since release, the ability to play as someone other than your character. So sometime after you've completed the story, you'll receive a call from Dre and then another from Franklin inviting you to Record A Studios. Now these are 2-person missions, so I highly recommend doing this next part with a friend. You can try it on your own if you don't have anyone you kick around with, but it means playing with randos and that rarely ends well. So when you're ready, either head over to the F on the map or start the short trip seed capital job from the pause menu. You'll get a pretty decent cutscene, which I recommend watching on your first playthrough, and after that you'll be dropped into Franklin's perspective if you're the lead, or Lamar's if you're the second. Then you can start blasting and having a bit of fun. Once you've completed the first mission, you can either head back to Record A or jump into the pause menu for the subsequent missions, Short Trips Fire It Up or OG Kush. There's not a lot of cash in these ones, but it's a heck of a lot of fun, so I recommend doing them at least once or twice. Rightio, next on the list is Imani Tech, which is, unsurprisingly, named after master hacker Imani. This is an add-on you can fit to specific vehicles from your workshop that will do one of two things depending on which option you choose. And which vehicles do I hear you ask? Well, it's the Enos Deity, the Debauched Champion, Bravado Buffalo STX, the Eunice Jubilee, Mammoth Patriot Mil-Spec, and the classy Granger 3600 LX. Right, onto the upgrades. The first mod is a lot of fun and a bit of a griefer's dream, to be honest. Fitting a remote control to a full-size vehicle at a cost of $235,000, essentially creating a giant RC Bandito, complete with self-destruct. It's locked to first-person mode though, which isn't great for third-person people, but it does get you kind of off the radar and can be handy if you fitted weapons to the vehicle too. To use this, when you're in the free roam lobby, open your interaction menu. That's M on your keyboard, double squares on your Xbox controller, or swipe on your PlayStation controller. Scroll down to inventory, remote control vehicles, then select RC personal vehicle, and you'll be kicked over to first person view in the car. And from there, you can just drive more or less as normal. The next Imani Tech piece is a bit of a counter to the Mark II oppressor, the Missile Lock-On Jammer, at a whopping 400 grand. This prevents any type of homing missile from locking onto you, including missiles from the Sparrow and the Mark II oppressor, as well as regular shoulder-mounted homing missiles. While that doesn't make you impervious to missile fire, it means whoever is attacking needs to manually aim to be able to do some damage, which knocks out about 90% of the try-hard Mark II griefers out there. Nice. While we're on anti-griefing, countermeasures, and safety, there's a couple of other things Imani's set up, which is kind of neat. Both of these can be accessed while you're outside in the free roam lobby by opening your phone, going to contacts, scrolling to Imani, and giving her a call. So the first service Imani will organize is Out of Sight. This is sort of like a semi-permanent off the radar for a very specific area. When you activate this via your phone at a cost of $12,000, you'll be off the radar for as long as you stay inside a 500-meter diameter area, do not attack anyone, stay alive, and stay in the same session. Once you fired this up, if you head into the map, you'll see this grey circle with a 500-meter diameter, with the center being where you first activated the service. This is your off the radar area where you will not appear on the map to other players. If you attack another player that is outside your organization or your MC club, or die for any reason, the service is stopped and you become visible. If you change sessions, the service is also stopped. In a surprising move though, you can leave the protected area and re-enter it at any time. You'll appear on the radar if you're outside of the area, but the moment you wander back into the grey circle, you'll disappear from the radar again. Just note that if you do something to cancel the service, that is attack another player, die, change session, there is a 10-minute cooldown, which can be a bit of a pain in the backside. The other thing Imani's teed up is the ability to source a motorcycle at a cost of $2,000. This is more or less as it sounds. When you select this service, you'll see a new map marker appear, which shows the location of a motorcycle with bulletproof tyres. This is handy if you need to make a quick getaway under fire, as the cops won't be able to shoot out your tyres, and nor will other players. One last thing before we get to a couple of pro tips is the concierge service. Similar to the CEO's office, motorcycle club, penthouse, and the yacht, the agency also has its own services, which you can use for a nominal fee. You can access these services by wandering over to the reception area in your agency, and there are 3 options available. Exit via personal vehicle, which does more or less what it says on the tin. Exit via helicopter, which allows you to select a helicopter to pick you up on the roof, giving you full control of the chopper when you leave. The Volito is free with this service, or you can use another heli for a small fee. And the SUV service, which is a fast travel service that allows you to spawn in one of a number of locations around the map. This is really handy if you need to go like way north. Once you're outside, there are similar services available from Franklin. All you have to do is open your phone, go to contacts, select Franklin, and once Mr. Clinton is picked up, you'll get a new menu top left. Putting aside the job requests, we have 3 services again. Company SUV, which spawns in the armored SUV nearby, which is really handy if you're under pressure. The SUV service, which is the same as before, more or less a quick travel, and a supply stash, which orders a supply drop containing health, armor, and ammo at a cost of $5,000. Now to finish up, let's go through a couple of pro tips. First up, like most other businesses, if you're registered as some sort of manager, that's either a CEO, VIP, or an MC president, the game assumes you're actively running the business, and that can leave your other businesses open to raids and attacks. If you're not actively working a business, and you're not doing something that expressly requires you to be registered as a CEO, VIP, or an MC president, then you should resign. This will significantly reduce the chance of you having stock stolen or otherwise destroyed while you're not actively working the agency. And finally, AFKing is a great way to grind out some of those hours for that purely passive income. If you've not not heard the term before, AFK means away from keyboard, which is the practice of keeping the game open without actually participating in it. Now, the more experienced of you will know that after 13 minutes of inactivity, Rockstar will terminate your session and boot you from online, but there is a way around it. If you have an LS Car Meet membership, which you can get for 50 grand, you can head to the test track. Once you're in, simply reverse back out, and as you head back up the ramp, you'll be dropped into an action menu. When that pops up, do nothing. Just leave your PC or your console on that screen and your session won't terminate. My standing record for AFKing this way is around 2 days straight. And if you don't have an LS Car Meet membership, you can do something similar at the casino. Just head to the ground floor entrance, hop out of your vehicle, return it to storage, and wander over to the front door. You'll get this interrupt screen again asking where you want to go. Just leave it there and you won't be booted. Well, damn, that was a lot to take in. It's certainly a massive task to put this guide together, so if you found it in any way helpful, please drop a like and a comment down below. We do our best to reply to everyone, so even if you just want to say hi, chances are we'll say g'day right on back. And thanks again for persevering. Check out the video up the top for another business guide, or the one down the bottom for some more old Grumpy Gamer goodness. Stay safe, wash your hands, and we'll see you in the next video.